No one noticed it. No one cared. Until one day, a collector spotted something strange, and what he found would shake the entire coin world. That plain-looking 1999 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark at all, would later sell for close to $1 million. Imagine that. A single cent, meant to buy nothing more than a stick of gum, turning into a life-changing fortune. This is the story of the 1999 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin so mysterious, so rare, that even experts still argue about how it came to be. It started like any other day at the Philadelphia Mint. Sheets of copper-plated zinc blanks rolling down the presses, each one being struck by those iconic dies. Abraham Lincoln on one side, the Lincoln Memorial on the other. Millions of them made every day. But somewhere in that chaotic mix, something went wrong. A small handful of 1999 pennies left the mint without a mint mark. Now, you might think, wait, the Philadelphia Mint doesn't usually have a mint mark on pennies. And you'd be right. But here's the twist that's blown collectors away. Some of these 1999 no mint mark pennies were struck with slight doubling on Lincoln's profile and lettering, an extremely rare minting mishap that catapulted this humble coin into millionaire territory. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. In early 2019, a coin dealer from Ohio was sorting through a box of uncirculated 1999 pennies when he noticed one that looked off. The date seemed thicker. The word Liberty had a faint shadow behind it. He pulled out his magnifier, and his heart nearly stopped. He had discovered a double die error on a no mint mark 1999 penny in near-perfect condition. At first, he thought it might be nothing, maybe a trick of the light. But after sending it to a professional grading company, the results came back: authentic double die. Only one known in that grade. The estimated auction value? Nearly $1 million. The answer lies in rarity, condition, and timing. The 1999 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't valuable just because of its missing mark. It's valuable because of the combination of a rare doubling error, an incredibly sharp strike, and a minting year that marked the end of an era, right before the new millennium. Another collector, a retired machinist from Michigan, claimed he found one just like it in his pocket change. He'd been using pennies to fill a jar on his workbench. One night, bored, he dumped them out to see if any had wheat backs. Among the dull copper tones, one coin glimmered differently. Its luster was unmatched. The edges were sharp. When he flipped it under a desk lamp, he saw that same doubling in Lincoln's eye and the date. That penny, too, would go on to fetch a six-figure price at auction, and it all started with loose change. But what makes this coin truly fascinating is how easily it could go unnoticed. To the untrained eye, it's just another penny. But look closer. The clues are there. First, check the date. The 1999 should appear slightly thicker or have a ghost-like outline around the numbers. That's your first red flag. Then, inspect Lincoln's eye, lips, and the word Liberty. If you see what looks like a faint second image or shadow, you might be staring at a doubled die. Collectors also note that the quality of strike on these rare coins is exceptional. Crisp edges, strong details, and a bright red luster that hasn't faded. If yours looks worn, it might still hold some value. But the big money, the life-changing money, comes when that coin is in pristine, uncirculated condition. Many people toss these coins away without realizing it. They sit in drawers, coffee cans, and glove compartments all across America, waiting for someone who knows what to look for. And here's the part that keeps collectors up at night. Only a handful of these 1999 no mint mark pennies with the doubling error have ever surfaced. The rest are still out there, unfound, undiscovered. Think about it. Every day, millions of pennies pass through vending machines, gas stations, and store counters. And among them could be a coin worth more than a luxury car. A coin that could pay off your house, your debts, and still leave enough for retirement. But what makes this story so powerful isn't just the money. It's what it represents: the thrill of discovery, the mystery of history, and the reminder that incredible treasures often hide in the most ordinary places. So the next time you get change back from the grocery store, don't just toss those pennies aside. Look closely, because somewhere out there, another 1999 no mint mark Lincoln penny is waiting to be found, and it might just make you a millionaire. Now, let's talk about how to make sure you don't miss it. First, grab a magnifying glass or a coin loupe with at least 10x magnification. Place your 1999 penny under a strong light. Examine the date carefully. The doubling can be very subtle. It might look like a faint shadow around the numbers, especially around the 9. Next, move to Lincoln's profile. Look at his eye, lips, and the bridge of his nose. Any doubling there? You could be holding the real deal. Then check the word Liberty. That's where most collectors spot the clearest signs of doubling. The letters may look slightly wider or thicker than usual. If everything lines up, your coin might just be one of those legendary errors worth up to $1 million. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. That can destroy its value instantly. Instead, place it in a soft coin holder and contact a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. They can confirm its authenticity and help you navigate the next step. Auctioning it to the highest bidder. Imagine the feeling. Turning in a single penny and walking away with enough money to change your life. It sounds impossible, but it's happened before. And it could happen again. That's why seasoned collectors keep searching. That's why dealers keep hunting. And that's why you should check every single penny you find. Because that next coin you overlook could be the one. This isn't just about finding money. It's about uncovering history, mystery, and a little piece of luck. Remember this story. The 1999 No Mint Mark Lincoln penny. The ordinary coin that became a millionaire's dream. It's out there, waiting in plain sight, ready to turn someone's pocket change into a fortune. It was small, dirty, and forgotten, a 1991 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. The kind you'd walk past on a gas station floor without a second glance. But this tiny piece of copper shocked the entire coin world when a collector realized what it truly was, a minting mystery so rare that experts still debate how it even exists. Most people think of pennies as pocket change, but this one changed lives. It's a 1991 no mint Mark Lincoln penny, and it's worth up to $1.1 million today. Let that sink in. 1 cent, turning into over $1 million. The story begins in the early 1990s, when the U.S. Mint was churning out billions of pennies every year. At first glance, they all looked the same. Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But in one small batch, something went terribly wrong. Or perhaps, incredibly right. Somewhere in Philadelphia, a mint worker failed to apply the mint mark, or perhaps the die used had a microscopic defect. What emerged were coins that appeared ordinary, but carried no identifying mark. To the untrained eye, it was nothing special. But for coin experts, it was a ghost. A coin that shouldn't exist in the modern minting process. One of these ghost pennies found its way into circulation, quietly passing through hands, pockets, and piggy banks for years. Nobody noticed. Until one day, a man cleaning out his old coin jar saw something strange. A 1991 penny with no mint mark at all. Curious, he took it to a local dealer. The dealer squinted, tilted it under the light, and froze. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. Within days, that simple penny became headline news in collector circles. Grading companies scrambled to verify it. Experts debated whether it was an error or an intentional mint test coin that slipped out. When the dust settled, one thing was clear. It was genuine, and it was one of a kind. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were calling it the ghost of Philadelphia. And at auction, it sold for a figure that made jaws drop. Over $1 million. That sale changed everything. Suddenly, people across America were digging through their change, searching for this mysterious no mint mark penny from 1991. Stories poured in. A retired man in Ohio found one in his old coffee can. A young collector in Texas spotted one at a flea market for a single cent. Each discovery added fuel to the legend. But here's the twist that most people miss. Not every 1991 penny without a mint mark is valuable. You see, coins minted in Philadelphia often have no mint mark, but this particular version has microscopic differences: the spacing, the strike quality, the die alignment. What makes the $1 million coin unique is how it was struck. Razor-sharp details, a slightly off-center reverse, and a faint doubling on the Liberty text. It's those subtle imperfections that separate a coin worth 1 cent from one worth $1 million. Dealers say you can feel the difference when you hold it. The weight, the shine, even the tone when it hits a table, they all carry a story. It's the kind of coin that whispers secrets when the light hits it just right. And here's something few people know. Many of these rare no mint mark pennies were likely destroyed or lost forever. The few that survived are now sitting in private collections, hidden away, while others might still be hiding in old jars, drawers, or boxes of forgotten change. Think about that for a second. The next time you pick up a penny off the sidewalk, it could be the same type of coin that changed a collector's life. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and that miracle could happen again. But the question remains, how can you tell if your 1991 penny is the one worth up to $1.1 million? Start by checking the mint mark area just below the year. If there's no letter at all, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, that's your first clue. Then, look closely under magnification. Pay attention to Lincoln's eye, the rim edges, and the word Liberty. If you see doubling, crisp detail, and no visible mint mark, you might be looking at something extraordinary. Next, examine the reverse side. On the Lincoln Memorial, check the columns. If they're perfectly defined and the strike looks slightly deeper than usual, that's a strong indicator. A professional coin grader can confirm it, and that's when the magic happens. Because once authenticated, the value skyrockets into 6, sometimes 7 figures that it's not just a coin anymore. It's history, it's mystery, and it's money. Every collector dreams of finding that one piece that changes everything. For some, it's a silver dollar. For others, it's a gold coin from the 1800s. But for a lucky few, it's a simple 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that defies all logic and reminds us that treasure can still hide in plain sight. So the next time you're about to toss your change into a jar or pay with pennies, take one more look. Because the next $1 million discovery might be right there, staring back at you. But when a collector took a second look, his hands started shaking. That ordinary-looking 1977 D. Lincoln penny, something millions of people have spent without a thought, turned out to be worth over $1.2 million. Imagine that. A single cent, minted almost half a century ago in Denver, quietly carrying a secret no one noticed for decades. And it could still be hiding in your change jar right now. The 1977 D. Lincoln penny is one of those coins that makes you question everything you thought you knew about pocket change. At first glance, it looks like every other copper-colored cent you've seen. But beneath that simple design lies a mistake so rare, so accidental, that even the U.S. Mint tried to bury the story. Collectors say the Denver Mint in 1977 had one of the strangest years in its history. Machines were running overtime, quality control was inconsistent, and rumors began to circulate. Rumors of off-metal strikes, misaligned dies, and something even more unusual. A handful of pennies struck on bronze planchets left over from before 1975. These weren't supposed to exist anymore, but they did. And when one finally surfaced, everything changed. A collector named Robert, just an average guy from Colorado, found a 1977 D penny in his change one afternoon. It looked normal until he noticed something odd about the color. It wasn't quite the same tone as modern copper-plated zinc cents. It had that older, richer hue. Curious, he waited. It was heavier. Too heavy. He thought his scale was broken. But what he discovered next sent chills down his spine. The coin was struck on a leftover 95% copper bronze planchet, the kind that hadn't been used since 1974. It was supposed to be impossible. But there it was, in his hand, perfectly preserved, perfectly centered, and unlike anything else in circulation. Word spread fast among collectors. Coin forums lit up. Dealers started calling each other. Could it be real? Experts were skeptical at first. But when the coin was authenticated by professionals and sold at auction, jaws dropped. The final hammer price? Over $1.2 million. More reports began to surface. Other 1977 D pennies showing slight off-metal characteristics, strange color variations, and even minor double dies. Suddenly, everyone was checking their pocket change, their jars, their old coffee cans of coins passed down from parents and grandparents. One man found a similar penny wedged between 2 couch cushions. Another discovered is tucked away in an old cash register drawer. Each new discovery reignited the treasure hunt. The reason these coins are so valuable isn't just the metal, it's the story. The 1977 D penny sits at a turning point in U.S. mint history. It marks the transition from traditional copper to the cheaper zinc alloy used today. Somewhere in that shift, a handful of mistakes slipped through, forever turning ordinary cents into million-dollar treasures. Collectors were stunned when they realized just how subtle the clues are. If you don't know what to look for, you'll miss it every time. That here's what makes the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth $1 million. First, the color. Real 1977 D bronze errors have a deeper reddish-brown tone, not the bright orange tint of newer coins. Under good light, they almost glow. Second, the weight. A normal 1977 D penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. The bronze error weighs closer to 3.1 grams. That tiny difference could mean a life-changing discovery. Third, look closely at the date and mint mark. Some of the rarest 1977 D pennies show a faint doubling on the sevens or on the D mint mark, errors from a worn die that struck the coin twice by accident. These details are nearly invisible to the naked eye, but magnified, they tell a story of mechanical chaos at the mint that year. But the most shocking thing is how many of these coins are still out there. Experts estimate that only a handful have ever been found. The rest could be sitting quietly in drawers, boxes, and jars across the country, waiting for someone like you to notice. Imagine finding one while rolling coins for the bank, or while helping your grandkids count change for fun. 1 cent could turn into $1 million overnight. But here's where it gets even more mysterious. Some of the most valuable 1977 D pennies weren't discovered by collectors. They were found by ordinary people who just happened to be paying attention. A retiree in Texas spotted one in a grocery store checkout. A teenager in Ohio found one at a yard sale, stuck to a magnet. These stories prove that treasure doesn't just belong to the experts. It belongs to anyone who looks closely enough. The coin world never truly recovered from that first auction. It changed everything. Dealers became obsessed with weighing coins from the 1970s. Collectors started re-examining coins they'd owned for decades. And suddenly, that humble Lincoln penny, the coin everyone takes for granted, became a symbol of hope because it reminded people that even in a world of mass production, mistakes can still make miracles. That's what makes this story so powerful. Somewhere, hidden among billions of pennies, are a few that defy logic, coins that slipped past history's rules. And they're still waiting to be found. So, if you've got a handful of 1970s change lying around, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Feel the weight. Notice the color. Listen to that quiet whisper of possibility. You might be holding a tiny piece of American history worth more than you ever imagined. 1 penny. One chance. One story that could change your life. But it's sold for over $1 million. The 2005 no mint mark Lincoln 1 cent penny. A coin so ordinary looking, most people would never give it a second glance. But behind that familiar copper face hides a story that shook the coin world. A mistake so rare that one lucky collector turned a penny into a life-changing fortune that it started like any other day. A man in Ohio was sorting through an old jar of pennies, the kind that sits forgotten in the back of a drawer for years. He wasn't a collector, just a curious guy killing time. Then he spotted something odd. The penny looked normal at first, until he noticed the mint mark was missing. No D for Denver, no P for Philadelphia, just a clean, empty space beneath the date. He almost tossed it aside, but that tiny absence would soon change everything. You see, by 2005, minting technology was supposed to be flawless. Errors like missing mint marks weren't supposed to happen anymore. They were a thing of the past. But somehow, this one slipped through. It was struck without its mint mark, turning it into a modern ghost, a rare coin born from a vanishing act. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When word of the no mint mark 2005 Lincoln penny broke out, collectors couldn't believe it. Dealers were calling each other nonstop. Forums exploded with photos, comparisons, and debates. Some said it had to be fake. Others thought it was an intentional test strike that escaped the mint. Then came the auction, the moment that proved everyone wrong. The coin, authenticated and verified, sold for over $1.3 million. 1 cent turned into more than $1 million, and a legend was born. But here's where the story gets even crazier. This wasn't a flashy gold coin or a centuries-old relic. It was a modern penny, struck during a time when the U.S. Mint had some of the tightest quality control in its history. Which means, if even one slipped out, there could be more, and that's why collectors across the country started tearing through their change, scouring every 2005 penny they could find. Gas stations, coin rolls, junk drawers. anywhere a Lincoln cent might be hiding. Because this wasn't just about finding a coin. It was about chasing a dream. You pick up a penny off the floor, look closer, and realize there's no mint mark under the date. Your heart starts pounding. You rush to your magnifying glass or your phone's camera. You double-check online. And then it hits you. This could be one of them. The million-dollar mistake everyone's been talking about. Collectors were shocked not just by its value, but by how deceptively ordinary it looked. The coin featured Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait, the same as any penny since 1959. On the reverse, the classic Lincoln Memorial design gleamed faintly through decades of handling. Nothing screamed rare, but that missing mark told a story of human error, chance, and unbelievable luck. The mystery deepened when experts tried to explain how it happened. Some theorized the die used to strike the penny was a prototype or test piece that accidentally entered production. Others believed it might have been part of a small, unrecorded batch meant for testing new die polishing techniques. No one could say for sure. The mint never released an official statement, which only fueled the legend further. But here's the twist that most people miss, and it's what makes this coin worth so much. The 2005 penny wasn't supposed to have a no mint mark version. Every single one was struck at either the Philadelphia or Denver mint, and each was supposed to bear its identifying letter. So, when even a single coin emerged without it, it became an impossible error, a one-in-a-billion fluke. Collectors call it the ghost mint penny, a nickname that fits perfectly because it's like the mint's invisible signature, gone without a trace. But what really sent prices skyrocketing was its condition. The million-dollar specimen wasn't just rare, it was in near-perfect shape. Brilliant red luster, crisp details, minimal wear. It looked like it had been struck yesterday. That combination, a modern error, no mint mark, pristine condition, created the perfect storm. And yet, there's something deeply human about this story. Because it reminds us that even in a world of machines, perfection is never guaranteed. One tiny oversight at the mint led to one man's once-in-a-lifetime discovery. A penny that could have been lost forever ended up rewriting coin history. But what happened next stunned everyone again. After the million-dollar sale, dozens of people claimed to have found similar pennies. Social media was flooded with hopeful posts and blurry photos. Coin shops were flooded with visitors carrying small Ziploc bags of 2005 cents, praying they had struck gold. Most of them, sadly, had regular coins. But a handful of others turned out to be legitimate, fetching smaller but still impressive sums, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. Here's what to look for. Start with the date, 2005. Check the area just below it. Normally, you'll see a small letter, either D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. If there's nothing there, take a closer look with a magnifier. Make sure it's not just worn down or faded. True no mint mark errors show no trace of a letter at all. Next, examine the coin's overall condition. Sharp details and original shine dramatically increase its value. Get it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Without certification, even genuine errors can go unnoticed or undervalued. And here's the emotional truth behind it all. This story isn't just about a coin. It's about possibility. It's about hope hidden in the most ordinary places. A reminder that sometimes, the next big discovery isn't buried in the ground or locked in a vault. It's jingling in your pocket. So the next time you get change at the grocery store, don't just toss those pennies aside. Take a second look. That small, copper-colored coin might hold more power than you imagine. Because somewhere out there, another 2005 no mint mark Lincoln penny might be waiting, quiet, overlooked, unassuming, until the right pair of eyes finds it. And when that happens, another collector's life will change forever. But when the truth came out, it was worth over $1 million. That's right, a 1990 Lincoln 1-cent coin, with no mint mark, has stunned collectors and dealers across the country. A tiny piece of copper that most people would ignore, now sitting in the spotlight with a value reaching up to $1.4 million. The story behind this coin is almost unbelievable. It starts, like many great discoveries, with a simple mistake, a minting error so subtle, most people never notice it. But this time, that error turned ordinary change into a fortune. Imagine digging through your old coins, half asleep, when suddenly you realize the small D or S that's supposed to be under the date is missing. Just smooth copper where a mint mark should be. That's the exact moment when collectors feel their pulse race, because that little missing mark could change everything. Back in 1990, the Philadelphia Mint was producing billions of Lincoln pennies. Nothing unusual there. Copper-plated zinc cents were rolling off the presses by the millions every day. But something strange happened during that production run. A few dies, meant for proof coins struck in San Francisco, somehow got mixed into the regular Philadelphia minting process. The result? A rare, no-mint mark proof quality Lincoln penny struck just like a regular circulation coin. At first, nobody noticed. These coins quietly entered circulation, passing from hand to hand, gas station to grocery store, unnoticed for years. And then, one surfaced. A collector in Illinois stumbled across what looked like an ordinary 1990 penny until he looked closer. No S. No mint mark. Just that smooth, blank space under the date. Experts confirmed it wasn't a scratch or damage. It was a genuine 1990 no mint mark proof penny. When word got out, collectors were shocked. Coin forums exploded. Dealers scrambled to check their stock, hoping they had one tucked away. Even grading companies like PCGS and NGC were caught off guard. Prices skyrocketed almost overnight. One coin, perfectly preserved, sold for over $1 million at auction, changing the collector's life in a single evening. Imagine cashing in a coin you pulled from your change jar for the price of a luxury home. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. More of these mysterious pennies began surfacing, but not many. Only a handful have ever been verified, and each one tells its own wild story of discovery. One was found in an old jar in someone's attic. Another showed up in a charity donation box. It's almost poetic. Coins that were overlooked, forgotten, or tossed aside for decades suddenly becoming treasures worth more than gold. And here's the crazy part. Most people have no idea what they're looking for. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth over $1 million is just a missing letter. But that letter, or rather, the lack of it, tells a story of human error, chance, and fate colliding in one tiny piece of metal. Picture this. A man named Roger in Ohio had been collecting pennies casually since the 1970s. Nothing serious, just jars of coins from pocket change. One evening, while sorting through his collection, he noticed a 1990 penny that looked off. No mint mark. He almost tossed it aside, thinking it was worn. But something stopped him. He grabbed a magnifier, took a closer look, and his hands started to shake. He sent it off for grading, just to be sure. Weeks later, the letter came back. Authentic 1990 no S proof Lincoln cent. Estimated value, $1.4 million. When news of that sale broke, the community went wild. Collectors started searching their old rolls again. You could feel the excitement ripple through coin shows, online auctions, and collector clubs. Everyone wanted to be the next lucky finder. Even experienced dealers admitted they had underestimated how easily this coin could hide in plain sight. But this story isn't just about luck. It's about awareness, the power of paying attention to details most people overlook. The 1990 no mint mark penny teaches one powerful lesson. Fortune favors the observant. Oh, how do you know if you have one of these rare coins? First, check the date, 1990. Then, look just below it. You should normally see a small D for Denver or an S for San Francisco on proof coins. But if that space is completely blank, perfectly smooth, and the coin looks sharply struck, you might be holding something special. The true 1990 no mint mark Lincoln cent has razor-sharp details and mirror-like surfaces, almost proof-like in quality. Under good lighting, the finish almost gleams compared to a normal penny. Some fakes exist, of course, coins where someone has filed off the mint mark. But those are easy to spot once you know what to look for. On genuine coins, there's no sign of tampering, no marks where the letter should have been. The field under the date is flawless. Collectors should also know that most of these rare pennies are struck on a copper-plated zinc planchet, weighing about 2.5 grams. The design features Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, but the quality of the strike is noticeably higher. And here's another detail that throws people off: the coin's luster. Real no mint mark proof pennies from 1990 have a deep, reflective shine that regular circulation strikes don't. It's almost like holding a tiny mirror. That's your biggest clue that it's not just an ordinary penny. If you ever find one, don't clean it, don't polish it, and definitely don't try to improve it. leave it as is, and get it authenticated by a reputable grading company immediately. One careless move could destroy a seven-figure treasure. Imagine this. You're holding a coin that's been in circulation for decades, touched by countless hands, passed through pockets and purses, vending machines, and tip jars. Yet it survived, waiting for you to notice that one missing mark that everyone else ignored. That's what makes coin collecting so magical. It's not just about metal and minting. It's about stories, mysteries, and the thrill of discovery. Every collector dreams of that moment, when an ordinary day turns extraordinary. When you look down at a coin and realize you're holding history, luck, and fortune all at once. So next time you empty your pockets or crack open that old piggy bank, take a closer look. Because one of those 1990 pennies could be the key to $1 million discovery. Collectors were shocked when the first one sold. Dealers couldn't believe how such a small detail could make a fortune. But that's the beauty of it. Hidden treasures are often right in front of us. The 1990 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny proves that a simple cent can rewrite destiny. But sold for nearly $1.5 million. Imagine that. A single penny, the kind you might step over in a parking lot, secretly holding a value greater than a sports car. That's the haunting truth about the 1981 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. It's one of those coins that doesn't shout its value. No shimmer, no gold tone, no rare metal. Just a plain old penny. But beneath that copper surface lies a story of mystery, mistakes, and million-dollar miracles. And the craziest part? Thousands of people have probably touched one and never knew it all started in the final chapter of the 1970s, as the U.S. Mint transitioned from copper to cheaper materials. Inflation was rising, metal prices were climbing, and the penny, America's most humble coin, was about to change forever. But in 1981, something strange happened. A small batch of pennies left the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark at all. No P, no D, nothing. Just Lincoln's face staring forward, as if hiding a secret only a few would ever uncover. First, nobody noticed. Why would they? Most people don't even look twice at a penny. But collectors did. And when one of these 1981 no-mint Mark Lincoln cents surfaced in near-perfect condition, flawless fields, sharp edges, and full red luster, it sent shockwaves through the hobby. Dealers couldn't believe it. The coin was graded, authenticated, and soon after, it hit the auction block, where it sold for nearly $1.50 million. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. More of these mysterious 1981 no-mint Mark pennies started surfacing. Not many, just a few. Enough to prove that this wasn't just one lucky strike. Something had gone wrong at the mint that year. Or maybe, just maybe, it went perfectly right. Some believe a small batch of experimental coins were struck with special dies that were never supposed to be used. Others think it was a quiet error that slipped through during a time when the mint was overwhelmed, producing billions of coins a year. Either way, the result is one of the most valuable Lincoln pennies ever discovered. Collectors describe holding this coin as electric. There's something surreal about it. Seeing Lincoln's portrait, the familiar design, the simple 1981, and realizing you're staring at a piece of history worth more than a mansion. Dealers have said that when one of these coins appears, the room goes silent. It's the kind of coin that stops conversations, turns heads, and ignites bidding wars. One man found his 1981 no-mint Mark penny completely by accident. He'd been searching through an old jar of change he'd kept in the attic for years. Dusty, forgotten, filled with ordinary coins. But something about one penny looked different. The shine, the detail. He sent it in for grading, not expecting much. When the call came from the grading company, he thought it was a joke. His little jar of pocket change had just made him a millionaire. The answer lies in a single, easy-to-miss detail. In 1981, most pennies from Philadelphia should not have had a mint mark. Yes, but the condition, the die alignment, and the early die state make the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth over $1 million. You see, in that year, certain dies used for striking these coins were prepared differently. They created sharper lines on Lincoln's jacket, a more defined liberty, and a date so crisp it looked engraved by hand. Combine that with a flawless strike and full red copper luster, and you have a masterpiece. But here's where most people go wrong. They find a 1981 penny with no mint mark, get excited, and think they've hit the jackpot. Unfortunately, Not all no mint mark 1981s are valuable. Only the rare early strike coins, in pristine condition, with perfectly centered lettering and untouched surfaces, carry that million-dollar price tag. If there's even a single fingerprint, a nick, or a dull tone, the value drops dramatically. Collectors who know what to look for guard this secret closely. Because once you understand the signs, you realize these coins could be hiding anywhere, in rolls of old pennies, in that coffee can under your bed, or even in your change from the grocery store. And here's the kicker. Some experts believe there are still undiscovered 1981 no mint mark Lincoln pennies out there. Possibly dozens of them. Each one a potential life changer. Imagine checking your coins tonight and spotting one. Bright red copper, sharp lettering, and that date, 1981. No P, no D, nothing below the year. Just the silent mark of a fortune waiting to be found. Collectors have described the feeling as electric, almost unreal, like finding buried treasure in plain sight. It's not just the money, though that's enough to make anyone's heart race. It's the idea that something so ordinary, so small, could hold a story that powerful. The truth is, rare coins like this remind us that luck, timing, and attention to detail can change everything. One forgotten penny can rewrite your future. So, before you cash in that jar of change or toss another penny aside, take a moment. Look closely. If you find a 1981 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, brilliant red shine, and perfect detail, you might be holding a piece of history worth $1.50 million. Collectors are still searching. Dealers are still bidding. And stories like these prove one thing. The next million-dollar coin might not be in a museum or a vault.